live near Mekelle. And several shot dead during nationwide protests against Sudan coup. This is our Disney News Hour, and many thanks for joining us with the news. I'm Shifarao Lako. Do stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has called upon the people of Ethiopia to organize and march through legal manner using any weapon and capacity to prevent, reverse and bury the terrorist TPLF that has come to the destruction of the country. The Premier issued a statement shortly after the Amhara State Council issued 9-point resolution declaring, among others, suspending the regular activities by all government institutions in the state and statewide curfew. PM Abiy said that the terrorist TPLF group continues to be a plague for Ethiopia, like an evil boy who burdens his mother with the scourge of evil. He accused the TPLF of being inspired by its hate propaganda and said, with the forces it had mobilized, the TPLF has opened fire on 4 fronts and continued its activities of pushing the country to its demise. PM Abiy added all attempts by the enemy were being annihilated by the ground and in the air. The Prime Minister has also called upon Ethiopians to stand in unison with perseverance. The Air Force of the National Defense Force has struck a training facility of the terrorist TPLF located at Agula near Mekelle. The terrorist TPLF group was using the facility to train illegally recruited military personnel, according to the Government Communications Service. The Air Force has so far destroyed several facilities the terrorist group used to stockpile armaments, train soldiers, and produce fake uniforms, among others. The forces of the terrorist TPLF group who attempted to invade Dessie city have been heavily smashed by the joint forces comprising the National Amhara Special Force, Amhara Paramilitary Force, FANO. However, the terrorist propagandists were spreading disinformation as if they took control of the city, and some Western media echoed such misleading information. Many of the TPLF desperados that tried to enter Dessie via Tita town and surroundings have been neutralized in a coordinated counter-offensive by the joint forces, as a few repulsed back. Ethiopia will observe November 4 to pay tribute to members of the North Command of the Ethiopian Army who were ferociously massacred by the TPLF forces a year ago. The day will be commemorated with assorted events, according to Government Communications Service. Demis Mukra reports.
It has been almost a year since the TPLF betrayed the Ethiopian Defense Force to ferociously kill their own comrades serving under one command. On November 4, 2020, the TPLF forces executed a premeditated attack against the northern bed of Ethiopian National Army, which led to a full-fledged war. Former TPLF mouthpiece Secretary Getachew officially admitted in a televised interview that the TPLF forces conducted a lighting 45 minutes operation to cripple the Northern Command.
We came to the conclusion that the people of Tigray were in clear danger, and coupled with our realization that the conspiracy to crush Tigray from the south, from within, and from the north by Isaias Afwerki was reaching a critical point, we had to take swift action. This is why we worked with members of the Northern Command who were willing to collaborate with us and used force to overpower those who were not willing to work with us, in an effort to destabilize or demobilize them. The operation we undertook was a very quick one. Within 45 minutes, we were able to bring under our control the entire northern command, except for a few pockets of resistance here and there.
Following the attack, the Ethiopian government officially launched a law enforcement counter-offensive and was able to capture some of the top perpetrators, while others were killed in the operation. Now, Ethiopia is to observe November 4 as a commemoration of members of the Northern Command who were slaughtered by their own comrades while unprepared. Briefing journalists, the State Minister for Government Communication Services, Kebede Desisa, said the day will be commemorated under the theme, "I will not forget the day and I belong to the Ethiopian National Army."
አገርን ለውስጥና ለውጭ ጠላት አጋልጦ የመስጣትና ኢትዮጵያን ለመጨረሻ ጊዜ ለመፍረስ የታሰበበት
The attack was designed to target the National Army, aiming to dismantle the nation and expose it to internal and external enemies. The day was one of the darkest times, which showed the most treasonous acts of the PLF forces in Ethiopian history. So, we will not see the day as other ordinary days.
The State Minister Kebede said the commemoration of a day is aiming at remembering the sacrifice made by soldiers of the National Army and helping the people swear allegiance to the army. During the Memorial Day, Ethiopians will put their hands on their chest for 45 seconds to pay tribute to those who brutally massacred by the terrorist group. Candle lighting and blood donation will also take place in the actual Memorial Day, the spokesperson said in his briefing.
ከጨንቻ ወደ ጅማ የሚሄድ ወደ ሀገረ ማርያም የሚሄድ ወደ ሸዋ የሚሄድ ሸዋ ምንለው አዲስ አበባ ነው የሚሄድ ነጋዴ ሁሉ እዚህ መጥቶ ነው እረፍት የሚያደርገው
And now in our business story, more than 50 German companies participated in a webinar organized by the German African Business Association in partnership with the Ethiopian Embassy in Berlin and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with a view to exploring trade and investment opportunities in Ethiopia on Friday. State Minister for Political and Economic Diplomacy Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, Ambassador Redwan Hussein, said the forum provides an opportunity to widen the diplomatic relationship between Ethiopia and Germany with expanded business-to-business relations. Appreciating existing German companies in Ethiopia, the State Minister expressed his belief that the flow of FDI from Germany would grow and other businesses would follow the footsteps of these companies. Ethiopia's ambassador to Germany, Mulu Solomon, said and other pertinent bodies, in the investment sector of the government have made further deliberations based on the concerns of German investors, including access to FDI and the investment policy of the country. And now in our continental news, activists in Sudan say several people have been killed in protests against the military coup in the country. Regional and international actors have been calling on General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan to reverse the coup and restore the transitional government that he dissolved. However, many protesters say even if that happens, it falls short of their demands, which are the complete handing over of power to civilian rule. Goshumeliso has more on that from Al Jazeera.
It's been days in the making. Thousands of people gather on the streets of Khartoum demanding a return to transitional government, something they say was robbed from them after the military coup on Monday.
We went to the street because we reject the military rule and we reject authoritarianism, and we categorically reject all the behavior of the military council.
We want to topple the Security Committee and bring it down. We don't trust these people. This is not their first coup. We need the world to know that the Sudanese people are living under oppression and are being beaten. Our voices are not listened to because there is no coverage and there is no internet.
With the internet cut off, organizers used mosques, flyers and graffiti to reach people. The military also blocked the main road to the airport, the planned route of this march. Saturday's protests were met with tear gas and live ammunition.
What is really concerning is the vast, array of military and security actors that are on the streets. There are just incredible set of security sectors that now patrol the streets. No sense that they are necessarily taking orders from a central spot, and I think that that diversity of different military actors is really the worry.
These demonstrators are demanding that Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok's cabinet be restored. It was toppled by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. He also dissolved the Sovereignty Council established after the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir 2 years ago. Some political parties have supported the coup. Burhan says he will hold elections in July 2023 and then hand power to the elected civilian government, but the takeover has provoked international condemnation. The UN and US has called on the military not to intervene in the protest. The people on Khartoum streets call it a power grab and demand a return to a democratic process.
The leaders of the world's 20 biggest economies are discussing the climate crisis, the coronavirus, and the global economy at a summit in Rome. Russia has complained about the lack of international recognition for its coronavirus vaccine at the G20 summit, where leaders agreed to step up global inoculation efforts. The Chinese President Xi Jinping made a similar call for the mutual recognition of vaccines. Kasaun Chani tells us more from Al Jazeera.
The G20 summit began on Saturday with a plea from the host of the gathering, Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi.
We must do all we can to overcome our differences, and we must rekindle the spirit that led to the creation of this group.
Coming into the summit, leaders from the world's major economies agreed to a minimum global corporate tax of 15%, meant to reduce abuse of offshore loopholes. Biggest issues, though, are proving most difficult. COVID-19 vaccine equity and taking effective action on the climate crisis. A draft statement from the group shows it's struggling to get member countries to truly commit to capping global warming at the 1.5-degree mark. A benchmark scientists have said is required to avoid disaster, and this comes just days before the climate change conference in Glasgow. Some key leaders opted to attend only via remote video. Chinese President Xi Jinping made only vague comments about China opening up further to the world, but made no mention of China's role as a major global polluter. Russian President Vladimir Putin had a more pointed request on vaccine recognition. Russia's Sputnik COVID-19 vaccine has not been approved for use by the United States or the European Union. Outside the security perimeter, protesters gathered to call attention to various causes.
We're marching today because we're asking for more concrete policies on climate change since the G20 is happening right now in Rome.
The summit will continue on Sunday. People will be watching closely to see if the closing group statement will go far enough in addressing climate change.
And now a quick reminder of the top stories. Ethiopian Air Force strikes training facility of terrorist TPLF near Mekelle. And several shot dead during nationwide protests against Sudan coup. And with that, we come to the end of today's stories. Many thanks for watching us. Bye-bye.